Greetings, tactician. Oh god, whew. Got a little bit ahead of myself. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my TFT patch note rundown 9.24b. This is their hotfix and last patch of the year. As people go on holiday for Christmas and stuff like that, any more patches that we see, including their new lunar champions, will be added on the start of next year. So we'll be playing on this patch till January. So this is the patch that we hopefully want them to kind of hit a lot of the really strong stuff. Speaking about strong stuff in the current meta, I'm glad the picture they use is one of Nocturne. I just played this comp and it felt a little bit to a lot weaker. So Nocturne gets run in Blender comps a lot, which is for Blade Masters and Nocturne. That's a little bit too hard or too strong. And additionally, while we're looking for stuff that we want to see adjustments to, I'd like to see a little bit of buff to mages, generally speaking. I know Brand got a little bit of a buff, but maybe more so than that. Outside of that, generally speaking, I'd say that there's a lot of different comps you can play on this patch. This patch probably has some of the most comp diversity possible. A good example is when I minimize this real quick and we look over here. These are all the comps that I'm willing to play on the top here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 separate compositions. And then these are more viable compositions that I know are good that I can't play that well. So just off the top, there's 10 possible compositions, and there's probably a little bit more than that. Even on a patch where there's such an oppressive composition in, this kind of Rek'Sai 4BM, Nocturne 4BM composition. So I think they had pretty good diversity last patch, and they're just looking to hopefully hit the top end a little bit and buff the weaker champions so they can get overall an even healthier meta. At the moment, it's in a pretty good spot though. Anyways, welcome back to patch 9.24. The B-side this time, in addition to standard balance patches, this patch is headlined by changes to how 3-star scaling works. We're shifting the power increase from health and attack damage to ability scaling. Please note this is our last update of the year. We'll see you again for... shit, I just said that. Sorry, I ruined that for you guys. Star scaling. 3-star units have an issue to balance because of the rigid way they scale, doubling their health and AD. By removing this formula, we'll be able to put that power somewhere else, such as ability scaling. It's also nice to make star scaling have the same role for 2 and 3-star. So they nerfed it by about the scaling by a little bit. This is a direct nerf to hyper roll comps, by the way, because most of the times if you're playing a normal comp, you're not 3-starring many units. I think generally speaking, you tend to 3-star one unit that you item stack really hard, and that's it. Like that's your whole consideration, unless you're hyper rolling at level 4 and 5, and you're getting like a ton of 1-cost units to 3-star. Comps that do this are like Predators or like the old egg roll comp with Woodlands. This is a direct nerf to that, and I think they've been strong for a while now, and everyone knows that, right? It's just like it is a risky play to go for these, and it's going to be a little bit more riskier as well here. One of the things that you should know is that nerfing the AD, however, from 3-star units means, generally speaking, another composition that likes to 3-star a lot of their units are assassins, because assassins tend to do a lot of multiplicative damage with their crits, and AD is a huge, is how it multiplies from, or their multiplicative damage is based on their AD. So when you 3-star assassins as well, they'll be weaker as well. Something you should know for this star scaling stuff. I think it's been long overdue to have this kind of nerf to 3-star units. I think it'd be probably okay to even just put the stat scaling nerf on just the 1-cost units, because those are the most problematic ones. But across the board, I am not too opposed to this, especially as if they're able to kind of make their ability scaling very cool, very good. All right, let's move on. Balance. Inferno, Electric, and Shadow. We're happy with Inferno changes, but the 6 and 9 just aren't hitting the power level we'd like to make them competitive. We're giving them another bump. We also overshot the power level of Electric a bit. Yeah, no shit. So we're doing that through Electric 2 will be slightly above 9.23 numbers. Finally, we're happy with where a Shadow has landed, but 3 Shadow is a bit too easy to put in many comps, so we're bringing it down. Okay. So let's go look. 3 Shadow bonus got nerfed to 60%. Okay, that's reasonable. See a lot of Senna comps right now with 3 Shadow. Kindred comp with 3 Shadow. They're all pretty good. Electric damage ended up getting nerfed. Everyone saw this coming. Pretty much you kept every Orin and Volibear you could, because 2 Electric would just crush 1-star units by itself. So this should be no surprise to anyone. Additionally, Zed was the best unit in the patch last patch, and it's probably still going to be the best unit in the patch this patch unless they nerfed him quite a bit. So I think Electric's fine. It was just overtuned. They're buffing Inferno. I think Inferno 3 and 9 suck, or 6 and 9 suck. A lot of that comes to the fact that Amumu is a really weak champion, and they lack competitive frontline to be good. When you look at, I think they were right in adding Amumu to the equation in a frontline kind of AoE CC tank. However, you're still missing a lot of frontline with this composition. It's hard to splash more in. The only way you can kind of do it is maybe go Infernal Summoners and get like Yorick with Annie having like your appropriate frontline. But even then, it feels kind of underwhelming to get the 6 Infernal together. And hoping these buffs can help them a little bit, but you're probably not going to expect much from this, even with this. Unless you hit Infernal Lux, then everything's... Infernal Lux makes everything possible. Luxes in general. Assassins. PD rework has jumped the assassin power level. This was expected but led to a lack of counter options due to the movement pattern. Because of this, we're going to be removing a lot of power from assassins. They're currently the best DPS and free backline access was just a bit too much. So they're nerfing 3 assassins crit damage down by 25%. And they're nerfing Nocturne heal. Oh, I felt that firsthand. They're nerfing Zed and AD and armor. Okay. I'm happy for Zed nerfs. I think Zed is the best champ in the game. However, I don't think this is enough. I think nerfing just his armor and AD, he's still going to be, like, especially by this amount, he's still going to be the best champion. Last patch, a lot of it was built around how you can get, like, the best Zed kind of pressure. And I guess with the combined nerf to the 3 assassins, it makes Summoner Sins, the popular Zed comp, a little bit weaker as well. Generally speaking, though, like, I guess there's a lot of incidental nerfs. The 1 and 2 electric, or 2 and 3 electric, the assassin nerf as well. I still think Zed is going to be very competitive and still probably the best champ in the game, but maybe not the best by clear large amounts. I do think assassins need to be nerfed because of the PD thing, and that's to be expected. Honestly, they knew that as well, and they nerfed Nocturne because he was doing a little bit too much with 4 blades. Balancing the newcomers. Senna and Amumu are pretty close where they want them, just need a few small adjustments. Senna decreased their AP magic damage, which is reasonable. I think that this is not as relevant because what ends up happening with Senna is everyone goes Morellos on her anyways. So this just means that if you don't hit the Morellos, you're going to be a lot weaker. But if you do hit the Morellos, your damage probably doesn't change by that much. Morellos on Senna allows every unit she buffs to auto attack and proc Morellos. And so like most of the damage from Senna comes from that particular part. This is kind of the icing on the cake. But I do think that she did need a little bit of a nerf here, especially for those popular Ranger Senna comps. Amumu starting mana going from 50 to 125. Thank God. I think it's similar to Tarek. Amumu wasn't ulting like at 1 star. He was one of the worst 5-class units in the game, if not the worst one. I'm very happy to see buffs to him and the ability range here. I wish they did like 3-3-4 instead to make Amumu 3 feel better. No one's ever gonna hit that, but you know, if they do. But I'm really happy to see Amumu buffs. That's super, super helpful. It makes them actually like a unit instead of something I skip all the time. Rangers, we went conservative on Rangers buffs at 9.24, and we're worried about overall buffing them. We're seeing some very light Ranger play, but overall the champions still feel pretty underwhelming, especially in tier 4s. So we're bringing them up to a more appropriate level. Oh god, this is going to be scary. So Ashe ability power goes up by 5% per arrow, which is a decent amount because I think she shoots 3 or 5 arrows per like string of auto attacks. Twitch AD goes up by 5, and the mana goes down to 70. Wow, this is a big buff. I do think Twitch needed to get buffed, but buffing Twitch, you can adjust poison later if poison becomes too strong. But Twitch as a standalone unit was really, really, really weak. This is even when considering like you're putting Hush on Twitch as well to give him 20 additional mana. By the time he actually started ulting the fight, a lot of times was already over. I'd be very careful about buffing Ashe by too much. Ashe is already seeing a lot of stacking play right now, and because she's a crystal, she has the ability to kind of be like kind of invulnerable to the point where she's like not invulnerable, but like really hard to kill for assassins and mages, but still outputting the highest damage in the game. And so I'd be a little bit worried about buffing her more, but definitely I think Twitch needed the buffs for sure. General changes, we're hitting a few of the champions that are overpowered for their cost. Trade power and general utility. Zyra's ability is far too strong for tier 1. Rek'Sai is a bit on the high end stat wise, while having I already knew Rek'Sai was gonna get nerfed. Didn't we call this? I called this for like 5 patches. I swear to God. So we're pulling some damage from her base stats. Finally, brand ability is doing appropriate damage, but it's taking him too long to cast. Okay, so Zyra ends up getting quite a big nerf, which is good because I think she can. She pretty much was used in every comp, and he's held Morello's on her till the end of the game. Rek'Sai AD ended up going down by 5. This is completely irrelevant to this champion, and she still has a 550 true damage at level 2 that works with her Predator buff and at 75 mana. So this is completely... I thought they were going to do something different. Never mind. This would only be relevant if you're like assassin spatting Rek'Sai at some way, shape, or form, but this doesn't seem to be the case. Brand starting total mana, he gets 10 less total mana. I think this is great. A lot of times when I'm playing Brand, especially into assassins, it's really hard. Like playing mages in late game is a fucking meme. Like you just get rolled by every assassin comp in the game. They jump on you and even if you're running like Shojin, you're commonly not being able to get more than one ulti off before you explode. And so that feels really, really bad. I will say this buff comes at a good time because while Rangers are going to see much more play because of the assassin nerf, the way to beat Rangers is kind of the infernal, hard-hitting backline mage damage of Brand. And so I think Brand was kind of weak, especially for a 4 cost. I'm super down to do this. I think it's really nice. This is Hush and Swordbreaker. You're seeing a large rise of Hush and Swordbreaker use, which is costing too much of the I don't get the play effect that we're not really comfortable with, so we're lowering the proc rates. Hush and Swordbreaker go down to 25. Great. Hush is broken, like just straight up. Both of these, like Swordbreaker to some extent, but like not being able to cast is like incredibly broken. It's part of what made the Blender comp so powerful. So what ended up happening is you saw huge nerfs to probably every part of the 4 Blade Master Nocturne Blender comp, through the Nocturne heal, through the 3 Assassin, through the Hush Swordbreaker, which are core on the units, which is good and the 3-star scaling, right? Because you 3-star Nocturne and Sivir. So that comp got hit pretty hard. It's probably still playable, even with me saying that. You just need to be playing uncontested, and you have to like have the correct units and items to make the pivot. And I think that's good. Like that's what you want to have in a composition. Electrics are still going to be good and dominant. I think the 3 shadow bonus doesn't really do much here. I'm just happy to see buffs to Twitch, happy to see nerfs to Zyra, buffs to Brand, and nerfs to some of the Blender comp units. Overall, good patch. I know they didn't want to do anything too crazy. So overall, if you're going to ask me if I'm happy with this patch till the start of January, yeah, I'm pretty happy. Maybe Rangers start taking over by a little bit too much, or Wardens start being too good. We'll kind of make that. We'll kind of see, but I do want to try seeing what happens when you don't see as many assassins now jumping in the backline. And if anything, I'm going to see what happens when you're playing 6 assassins, because maybe realistically the way that assassin comps end up going is like 3 assassin got nerfed, but you're still going to be able to play 6 assassins, right? So maybe just cutting the 3 out and going 6, and then beating people up that way makes a lot more sense in general. So you may see the return of 6 assassin play as well. It's definitely something I want to test.